So welcome viewers to another episode of the Big Leap from Mirae Asset. It's a pleasure and privilege to have with us Mr. BHAVIN Sheth and Mr. Lokesh Shah. Bhavin Bhai and Lokesh Bhai have a very enterprising setup called as iSolutions Advisors, and they are based in Ghatkopar in Mumbai. Both were working together almost 2 decades back, and in the year 2003, they started iSolutions to be in the distribution space, taking care of investments for professionals, high-end families, HNIs, and even non-institutional like trust and family offices. Since then, they are now managing investments for almost 300 families and catering mostly on the HNI side. So Bhavin Bhai and Lokesh Bhai, thank you so much for being a part of Big Leap, and thank you for joining us today. Why don't you start by how did your whole investment journey start? How did you take the jump from working together to setting up a business together?
Yes. Thank you, Mayukh, first of all, for giving us this opportunity. Myself is BHAVIN Sheth and he is Lokesh Shah.
Yeah.
We are both childhood friends and partners in iSolution Advisor. We are basically from a financial background only. We completed our MBA in finance and we have our surrounding of financial people also. Friends and families. So this way we thought of to put our efforts in starting a financial advisory business. And we would like to say that we are both hardcore people's person. We like to meet people, interact with them, and so we thought this career will be the best one to meet people and interact with them for their financial needs. Way back in 2000, I clearly remember that there were some patches on mutual fund industry.
And it was a second inning for the market.
And it was like a second inning for the mutual fund industry to come back in the market.
We started our career at that time with the small savings and bond and RBI bond, like what all things were very popular at that time. Slowly and gradually, we used to get a query for getting their money back or some servicing issue related to mutual fund industry. It was a days like where it was a purely second inning for the mutual fund. So we was not even thought of also at that time if this market can go up like this. So we used to just service them for their old investment which they could have made into old mutual funds. But slowly and gradually, we learned that it is not something which was that much bad as portrayed by the people at that time in 2003. And slowly gradually we got used to with new era of the mutual fund also. Like there were so many new players were also coming in the market in those days.
So beyond in 2003, beyond the people whom you would have known immediately and they could have been your first clients, how did the client base expand? Because many of our viewers would like to know, how do you go beyond your natural set of people you would know? Is it referrals? Is it activities? What worked for you?
Day one, like me and Bhavin was under thought at that time. We don't wanted any family support or our natural market to help us to build a business. So we used to focus purely into cold calls. Like we used to stand out before the ATM machines. At that time, ATM machines were not that much popular. So whatever ATMs were there, their company's salaried people used to come for the cash withdrawal statements and so many things. We used to stand out there. We used to do promotional activity like distributing the leaflets in newspaper. In those days, we used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning,
yes,
just to go to newspaper vendors
and to see that it's properly distributed,
inserted into newspaper or not, and doesn't go into. It should go in, reach out to the my target society.
And I clearly remember we used to stand outside the postal office also to cater the customer, because at that time the postal schemes and RBI bond scheme was very in limelight.
That was a primary investment tool for the people.
And we used to meet them. I asked for appointment from them regarding, and then we start pitching them some mutual funds by pouring 10,000, 5,000 application. At that time, application game was very well. So this way we started. We were having a target to meet at least 4 people in a day. So
self-target.
So this way was one of the way we started, and slowly and gradually our approach of 360-degree of investment, like we are not focusing on only one product at any point of time. As an investment solution, so we don't want that our name should be saved like BHAVIN SHETH Mutual Fund or LOKESH SHAH agent. We want to be an proper investment advisor.
In those days, people used to do only one asset class. Like we have seen, like people used to do only small savings, means only small savings. They will not deal with any other product. People with one particular brand of the insurance, they will do with that only. At that time, our USP was that, like, I will give you tracking for your all asset class, be it mutual fund, be it stock market, be it property, be it your any product, gold, commodity, everything. In those days, there was not this much software support also. We used to make this start on the notebook, and then later on we started on the Excel sheet.
I think one image of that notebook will actually show the journey of iSolutions is what I can see, learn from what you're talking about.
Right.
But in the 18 years, you have made a name and a mark in the HNI segment, because that's where you actually excel in. What made you move towards the HNI segment, and what is that which iSolutions brought to the table when it came to HNI investment management that it made you the success which you are today?
See, in those days, we gradually realized maximum people what I can meet in a day is a limited, because I had 8 to 10 hours to meet the people. Rest of the 4 or 3 hours we have to spend into back office. So at that time, it was very clear I cannot expand that much into retail segment, because we have a forte in servicing or meeting the people or building the relationship. So we used to be very selective at those days also. Like I want to build the relationship with this kind of the families only. So my time goes little bit lesser and we get a more output.
Okay.
And one more thing I will like to say that about our success is our approach. We follow an approach called as GOLD, G-O-L-D. G is gathering the data, O is organizing the data, L is learning them from their investment, and D is to
demonstrate the future output of that existing portfolio, what they have shared with us.
Like we understand where they are putting their money, where is their asset allocation more towards, so that we doesn't overlap their investment which they have already done.
We used to do risk profiling from their existing investment only in those days.
So like we will not pitch that has come out with this policy, mutual fund has come out with this NFO. We first understand them by their investment pattern.
Time, let's say if I started with some family in January, then till October, November, we never used to argue which asset class is better or which asset class is wrong. Because what we have learned, we used to build the relationship from their investment habit only first.
Okay.
See, rather than arguing with someone for giving your asset class, better you gel up with them for the 6-8 months and slowly, gradually put your opinion. Like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this?
Now that you're managing the HNI segment, you are basically making money for people who have already made money.
Right.
Yes.
And then it also comes with its challenges, that how do you make them stick to the asset allocation or the path which you think is right for them? And 20 years is a long period for them to stick on to your given path. How do you manage the asset allocation and make them stick to the given path? Because there will be many distractions in the middle during this journey.
We never presented ourselves as a performer in terms of the asset class. Till today, we are being presented to, like, whenever some client gives a reference of other client, he will always use one word. They will help you in portfolio building, and we are specialized in portfolio building only. We will never argue like my recommended investment will give you this kind of the return.
Okay.
My forte is cultivating the habit of investment in some family. So we make them used to make a regular investment whenever they have cash flow, or we used to keep chasing client on regular basis. Why don't you invest in this? Why don't you invest in this?
Because it is clearly, my belief is that for wealth creation, initiation of investment, you need to initiate the investment is more important than the returns part.
See, return is something which is a market driven. I can give my best in terms of advisory, but I am not a market who will give you the return. Ultimately, returns will be generated from the market, economy. There are so many factors. What I can help you out is the best asset allocation and regular investment.
And I can say one more important thing, that why customers are sticky with us is because of our trustworthy relationship, best services. The services is via technology platform also. In the year, I know in the 2008 or 7, we started our own handmade software where people can see their total portfolio in all asset class invested through us or through others in one platform.
And that is a still USP for us. Like when we say particularly HNI family, on a single sheet, on single ID, they can view their existing investment which is made through me, which is made through others, and thirdly, their promoter quota of the equity or big time real investments in real estate. They can track each and everything on our platform.
So you talked about something which Bhavin Bhai talked about, and I was coming to that, is how do you first is engage trust in HNIs investments and keep that for such a long period of time? Any views on that?
उसमें एक व्यू हम लोग का काफी अच्छा है. हम लोग क्लाइंट को काफी टाइम मजाक में भी बताते हैं कि हमारे उधर आना बहुत इजी है, बट यहाँ से वापस जाना बहुत मुश्किल है. Because when they deal with so many kind of the asset class, no? Like when you are giving 360-degree approach, you know their family very well, you know their business, you know their relatives, so many things. Then to exit from me is almost next to impossible. And we make that kind of the approach with them, like it should be one-way entry only.
Okay, great.
Plus we do on a regular basis social gathering programs. Like we celebrate around 5 years back, 10 years of our success, and many more things we used to do with our clients, because now clients are not clients, they are our friends and families. So this way we always are in touch with them for their regular family solutions also. I can say this much, we have a strong relationship with them.
Okay, great.
In this period, we used to book the vaccination also for our client. People were not that much comfortable with the COVID platform and everything. Senior citizen client, उनको कार भेज दी हम लोग ने. There are so many engagement activity. Engagement activity will not be only like where you build the event or you give some seminar or anything. There are so many activities what you can do. आज ये चीज, this was so much popular. Like client used to call us कि मेरे डैडी को vaccination. Like there are so many clients who are in Bangalore. Their parents are in Mumbai. They want to go for vaccination, but they don't have transportation. So my driver will specially go and pick him up and get it vaccinated.
Okay. So it's beyond the portfolio building and so on. Now it's relationship and family taken care. Great. So I'll introduce my colleague Jenith here. Jenith Thakkar takes care of the relationship of iSolutions from our side. So I'll request Jenith to share his experience of managing this relationship for the past some years now.
Thank you, sir. I fairly remember the first time that I met Bhavin Bhai and Lokesh Bhai. It was very memorable. I remember I was sitting in one cubicle in their office and I was offered water, and slowly after 15-20 minutes, Bhavin Bhai entered, then Lokesh Bhai entered. So I was very scared. I thought that this is going to be a huge meeting, and I was very new at that time in the MF industry. But the way they managed the meeting, it was very nice. Like the dynamic personality of these two was really eye-catching. And the best thing is that whenever you meet them, it is like a learning experience. They will teach you how to do sales. That is, I think previously also Bhavin Bhai and Lokesh Bhai both mentioned how they were standing outside ATMs. That is the real thing that a salesman wants to know, how to do sales. That is one thing that you will learn from them. And another good part about them is that, they will treat you as your family. So they will never treat you as an RM. They will never treat you that way. They will treat you as your family. They will ask you questions beyond your business also. And they will see to it that even you're doing well. Like in the times of COVID also, you'll always get a call from Bhavin Bhai. First thing he'll ask, how are you doing? You'll never jump to business. You'll never see Lokesh Bhai jumping to business directly, because they know business will flow eventually. But that relationship should grow, and that is the best part about them. And I think I wish I can carry this for more years with them, and it will be truly a great journey for me to be a part with them in their own business.
Thank you, Jenith, for that. So Bhavin Bhai, Lokesh Bhai, my last question is for all our guests is that with your experience, what sort of advice would you give to our viewers who are mostly from the MFD profession?
First of all, you have to believe in your own thing, that you are doing one of the greatest job, noble job, because we have seen this 20 years, why people now believing in us is because we have helped them to make a proper wealth creation for them in this 20 years. Plus, we have settled many claims also. So they have to believe, first of all, in the profile that they are into. And this industry is still very much untapped, I will say. You have a huge opportunity in whichever segment you want to grow for. You have to work dedicatedly, give a right service, right advice, proper service, and so the trust gets evolved in the relationship.
To be precise now, one should be very simple in this business. Let's not use that much jargons or so much technicality of this business. Secondly, never de-sell any asset class. Wherever your foot is, but still don't de-sell anything. And believe in a relationship, because that is something which will last more than returns. Returns is something which is a secondary point. Be more on to relationship building. That will something which will take you to the longer term in this business.
Thank you, Bhavin bhai, Lokesh bhai. That was a excellent feedback and excellent pearls of wisdom from your side. We wish both of you all the very best. And we are really honored and privileged to have this association for now going almost now more than a decade now. But thank you so much. And we wish you and the whole iSolutions team all the very best for the future. And thank you, viewers, for watching another episode of The Big Leap. We will continue to bring such stories again in the future. Till then, take care and thank you.
Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.